How's it going, guys? This is Riley from Nerd Network coming at you with a brand new weekly download. This week we're going to be discussing a change in roster for the new Suicide Squad film, Mark Hamill's real opinions on the new Star Wars trilogy, and news on Microsoft's upcoming new console. So sit down, plug in, and get ready for this week's weekly download. Now, the first bit of news we're going to be tackling this week comes in regards to the new Suicide Squad film. Recent rumors of new casting or characters being out of the roster has been surfacing recently. The new Suicide Squad film is going to be written and directed by James Gunn, and it was announced earlier this month that Jared Leto would not be reprising his role as the Joker, and also that his Joker solo film was entirely taken off DC's film slate. Now, this isn't surprising given the bad reception towards the original Suicide Squad and mostly Jared Leto's portrayal as the Joker. Now, is Jared Leto a bad actor? No, not at all. I actually like him in a lot of different films. My only issue is that the portrayal of the Joker was not really anything that we got from the comic books, and it just wasn't done that well. Also, it was said by the actor himself that he filmed multiple scenes that weren't even in the final cut of the film, making it kind of disjointed and not really making sense as to why he was included in the film to begin with. So, that's not surprising that he's not showing up in the new Suicide Squad film. What is surprising is that his movie is just completely getting taken off the slate. Recently, DC has been moving towards a less cohesive universe than they originally wanted with their films, but with the announcement of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, which is going to be set in the 80s and possibly not even include Batman, it's not a surprise that they're going to move away from Jared Leto. Also, Jared Leto is under contract now for a Morbius film by Sony, which is going to be tied into their Spider-Man not actually having Spider-Man in the film's universe. So definitely get excited for that, I guess. But Jared Leto isn't the only character who will not be appearing in the next Suicide Squad. Rumor has it that even Will Smith's Deadshot will not show up in the film. Now, whether this is because the actor doesn't want to do it, or simply because his character just wouldn't fit that well into the premise, is not known yet. James Gunn seems to be kind of reworking the script and the movie as a whole, as well as the team. This next film is actually not called Suicide Squad 2, but rather just The Suicide Squad. So the fact that we might be getting kind of a soft reboot is possible. Now, we do have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, which she portrayed in the last film, but it's possible that they might get another actor to play Deadshot, or possibly replace him with Deathstroke, who has already been part of the Suicide Squad in the comics, and a character that's already cast in DC's current cinematic universe. We'll definitely be getting more news of the Suicide Squad when filming takes place later on this year, and we'll probably have a confirmation on who's showing up, what characters are involved, and which actors are playing the roles. Though I wouldn't be surprised for them to bring Deadshot back and simply recast them, if the soft reboot is what they're going for. While Will Smith was the headlining star of that movie, he hasn't really been in anything too exciting as of late. And right now, with the internet's recent backlash on him being cast as the genie in the live-action Aladdin movie, it's possible that they just want to move away from the actor in general. Now, our next piece of news is another piece of Star Wars news. Hooray, more Star Wars news. It seems like I'm doing Star Wars news every single one of these episodes. But, hey, I like Star Wars, so it's cool with me, right? Actually not, because it seems like everybody doesn't like Star Wars. Mark Hamill recently said in an interview how displeased he was with the way that the new trilogy was heading, especially with Episode 8. Now, what Mark Hamill said in the interview was that he was duped into believing that Luke was going to have a larger role in the films in general. According to the actor, he really hasn't had that much input into his characterization and what Luke would be like for the 3 films that are being released by Disney. More so, he's just the guy following the script rather than somebody in the driver's seat. Now, this isn't new information by any means. In interviews after the release of Episode 8, The Last Jedi, Mark Hamill was stating that he was displeased with the characterization of Luke Skywalker, and that his Luke Skywalker wouldn't have made the same decisions as the one we see in the final film. Now, does that mean he would have not gone into hiding and taken on the First Order head-on? Who knows? It isn't what we got in the final film. But what is new information is that Mark Hamill stated that to him, he only is appearing in one film. He sees the end of Episode 7 as really the beginning of Episode 8, and that Episode 8 is Luke's story, and that's it. which might mean that he hasn't been contacted to appear at all in Episode 9. Now, that's hard to believe seeing as J.J. Abrams is coming back and really didn't get to work with Mark Hamill that much. I could see him wanting to flesh out Luke's story more beyond what Rian Johnson did in Episode 8. But with what Mark Hamill's saying about him only appearing in one film and not being able to reunite with Harrison Ford or Carrie Fisher properly on the screen, makes me think that nobody has talked to him about Episode 9. Now, this could be a hush-hush ploy by Disney to not want to leak the fact that Luke is going to appear in Episode 9, which is entirely possible. We've seen Force Ghosts even Beyond Death before, so it's nothing new. But that is hard to believe that he's going on bad-mouthing his character in the last two films and trying to support him showing up in Episode 9. Now, what I could see happening is this. Maybe we're going to get a Luke Skywalker flashback from scenes that are already filmed during Episode 7 or Episode 8 with Mark Hamill. But based on what's being said, I kind of find it hard to believe that he's going to show up in Episode 9. Now, would I like him to? Of course. I think that's one way that they could kind of turn around the fan backlash from The Last Jedi. So we'll see what happens, but based on this interview, it's not looking good for Star Wars Episode 9 in the Luke Skywalker department. Now, our last piece of news this week is discussing Microsoft and the possibility of us getting a new console from them beyond just another iteration of the Xbox. Now, at E3 2018, Microsoft did state that they were working on a new console and that it would possibly be the last console that they released. This got many fans speculating as to whether it was going to be another iteration of the Xbox or an entirely new console in general, and whether or not it was going to have disc functionality or if it was going to be more of a cloud service, taking games electronically and having them on your system. Now, this year, Microsoft did confirm that those rumors of a discless console were true, stating that a new version of the Xbox One X, called the Xbox One S All Digital, yeah, I know, let's just add more words to a already mouthy title, will be releasing later this year, actually as early as April. Now, this console will be downloading and streaming only, meaning that any of your physical copy of discs will not be able to be played on the system. However, Microsoft has solved that by creating somewhat of a system that gives you access to whatever game you bought physically in a digital sense. Whether or not they're going to charge for that service is not confirmed or denied. I could see them definitely doing that, charging for the service, but hey, at least you get the games that you've already purchased physically if you're somebody like me who likes having something in their hand, without having to go out and rebuy it at full price on an electronic marketplace. The one good thing about the Xbox One X All Digital that Microsoft has confirmed is that it's going to be a cheaper alternative to the Xbox One X. Now, whether that means it's going to have the exact same specs as the Xbox One X is not entirely clear, but I could see that being the case. Microsoft has always wanted to move into a digital marketplace, as has the newer generation of consoles in general. So I could definitely see them offering it at a lower price point to get people involved in just going entirely digital with it, having a library consisting of all digital games, and getting rid of physical copies in general. But the Xbox One X All Digital wasn't the only console that got revealed. Recent rumors have been stating that a project called Xbox Scarlet is also in the works for a possible 2020 release date. Now, whether or not this really is a continuation of Xbox or an entirely new console simply going under that alias isn't known yet. However, what has been confirmed is that Halo Infinite may be getting a release on that system, and also that Ninja Theory is working on a game specifically for a new Microsoft console. Now, it is possible with Microsoft acquiring multiple different studios last year that we're going to be getting a whole host of new games that are originally for this Xbox Scarlet console and not available for the next PlayStation, the next Nintendo system, which makes a whole lot of sense. If you're going to completely get rid of the Xbox legacy and start fresh with the new console, which is supposed to be your last one, all digital, everything on top of that, new specs, better graphics, you're going to want to have a show of force with a brand new set of games coming out that are quality and not available anywhere else. Now, if all those titles are going to be launch titles along with the system in 2020, we don't know, but it is possible. I could see them at least having 6 or 7 different solid titles from their studios for launch with the Scarlet. Now, with the games being all digital, it is also possible that we might see a reduction in physical copy sales. Not only sales, but the pricing for physical copies of games might also drop. There's no doubt that to stay competitive, online marketplaces and physical brick-and-mortar stores that are selling physical copies of video games will definitely reduce the price of their physical copies. If Microsoft is going to entirely move into the direction of digital video games, Sony's definitely going to follow. Nintendo has already followed with a lot of their Switch titles being digital, so I can definitely see physical copies being hard to come by, and companies that only sell physical copies wanting to lower their prices and get rid of their stock quicker to stay competitive with the digital marketplace. With the new Xbox One X all digital releasing as soon as this year, and the next system possibly being released next year, it is going to be a quick turnaround, and we will definitely see a change in the video game marketplace very soon. Well, that's the news for the week. Be sure to drop a like on our video if you enjoyed it, and put a comment below with what your favorite part of this week's download was. Now, thank you so much for watching the video, and if you'd like to support our content further, please subscribe to our channel, and be sure to hit that bell icon to make sure you always stay updated with new weekly downloads, gameplays, movie reviews, everything we have coming down the line from you guys. Once again, I have been Riley Ness for Nerd Network, and thanks again for watching.